What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Wolfcrier here, and justice is blind. And apparently underpowered and wicked squishy. In today's video, I want to talk about patch 2.6.7 on the PTR for Diablo 3 as it pertains to the Pattern of Justice set for the Monk. And I really want to like this set. It has some good ideas behind it, and it does have a couple of decent qualities to it. But for the most part, it is pretty lacking as far as the damage output goes and the damage mitigation for this set. There's pretty much no damage mitigation coming from the set itself, nothing incorporated into the Patterns of Justice set. And there's none that's coming from those other legendaries that have been revamped as far as the Vengeful Wind, Kayashiro's Soul, and that Eye of the Storm Helm. There's nothing there to give it a little bit of boost with damage mitigation, and it definitely suffers from a huge lack of damage so far. To date, I have been able to clear a GR90 with this build, which is pretty cool. Overall, it's a fun build to play, especially when you're utilizing that Tempest Rush build, but I had to work in Crystal Fist in order to actually be able to survive in a GR90. Anything higher than 100 and I'm going to get one shot pretty much instantly, even if I am Tempest Rushing through the whole thing and not stopping whatsoever. I am running Spirit Guards on this build to grab a little bit more survivability, as well as Mantle of Channeling and a Unity and that Crystal Fist, and that's a pretty big chunk of defensive damage mitigation, but it's still not enough, especially since it doesn't have the damage output to eliminate some of the monsters in the area, and you are stuck fighting for long periods of time. I've tried to take this into a GR95 and it was just unbearable for the most part. I wasn't able to kill anything. Eventually you can take down some mobs and eventually you can take down the elites, but it just takes way too long and you've lost way too much progression at this point. So the build really lacks in pretty much both departments there. I would say that it needs something, perhaps taking one of those old Tempest Rush Daibos, maybe the one that gives you that Tailwind rune, and refurbishing it for use with this set. Maybe have it give you some damage mitigation while you're using Tempest Rush, and then have it add an additional chunk of damage to the build for your Sweeping Winds, maybe 6 to 1,000% additional damage. It needs a lot more damage in order to be viable at high level play. I'd say that right now, its best thing going for it is the fact that it is a very mobile build. With that additional movement speed increase and using Tempest Rush, you are able to navigate a rift rather quickly. So for GR70s and T16 speed farming, but anything higher than a 90, and it is pretty much unbearable to play. I tried so hard, so many different combinations. I used Little Rogue Slanderer, I used Crystal Fist Vengeful Wind, I've used a Daibo, cubing the Vengeful Wind, and so far nothing has been able to increase the damage output to where it's acceptable. I mean, you look at something like that Barbarian Whirlwind Ren set that's going on right now, it is a beast, and this is pretty much the broke man's version of that. There would be no reason to run this set whatsoever. Even if you really love Monk, I would suggest that Whirlwind build for the most part, because this is kind of a shallower version of that, and it can't really hold a candle to anything as far as what the Monk currently has available to it. There are so many Monk builds that are so much more powerful than this, and that Sun Wuko's Wave of Light, as I said, with that upgrade to Vengeful Wind, allowing Sweeping Wind to gain 13 stacks, that Sun Wuko's Wave of Light is a beast now and is actually able to keep up with Legacy of Dreams Wave of Light. I think the two are pretty much flat. So overall, the improvement to Vengeful Wind was good for that set, but it doesn't do enough for this Pattern of Justice set for the Monk. And I really think that something needs to be done in both the damage department and damage mitigation. I'd like to see something, even if they incorporate something else into the set, like boosting that damage to either 20,000% increased damage, which would be crazy, or allowing that damage boost to also affect your Tempest Rush. So that 10,000% increased damage could affect both Tempest Rush and your Sweeping Wind, and then you're actually going to be able to deal some damage. They could probably get away with lowering it down to like 7,000 or 8,000 and including Tempest Rush, and that would actually increase the damage substantially. I think it might be enough, and it would also give you a reason to run Tempest Rush. I don't think that the size increase just for running Tempest Rush is enough to justify putting that on your bar. I mean, other than using the Taeguk gem and Mantle of Channeling to increase your damage a little bit, Tempest Rush really doesn't do much for this build. It's not a big enough area as far as that size increase that you get with the Tempest Rush. So I don't know why this is actually part of the build. So unless they can manipulate it to where it's part of the actual damage of the build, or start doing stuff like using one of the Tempest Rush Daibos, like I said, and utilizing that to increase the damage mitigation and the damage of your Sweeping Wind, there's not really a point to it. This thing didn't get massive as you're attacking with Tempest Rush. It only allows you to use the gem and the Mantle of Channeling, like I said. It's just not viable whatsoever for high-level pushing. Like I said, with its mobility, it is a very good speed farmer, but you've got to have the Paragon to do it, and you've got to be able to stay alive for the most part in whatever you are farming, because it lacks in that department as well. I have to say, I'm running this with 2,200 Paragon. Augmented weapon here and there, augmented pieces of gear for the most part, a Bane of the Trap that is level 114, a Stricken that is level 93, and this thing still isn't putting out a decent amount of damage. It appeared to be something that was useful when I started off doing a GR70, and it was fast. But then once I started to ramp it up, it really lost all sorts of hope as far as being able to push those high-level GRs. I'd like to see something done with this. I will be posting some information on the feedback for the PTR on the forums, just to see if I can get this out there, that this needs to be improved. There needs to be a big damage boost, and there needs to be at least a little bit of damage mitigation added to the set, because overall it's a cool idea. I really like it. I like the other stuff going on with the PTR. We will be talking about all that stuff during the week. I do plan on getting videos out for the PTR often during this week while I am playtesting. I like a lot of stuff about this upcoming patch, but this set really needs some help. But all right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you so very much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. I greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and let me know down in that comment section down below, if you're playing PTR, what is your favorite thing about it so far? What do you think needs more work? And how you're enjoying it overall. All right, ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you so very much, and you all have a fantastic day. Peace.